So many of you guys know I've been very critical of the YouTube gurus all throughout this entire year. And as a matter of fact, I've been so critical of them. They've had no choice but to actually acknowledge me. As a matter of fact, me, Kevin, has come on my channel numerous times at this point. Tom Nash has been on my channel. Jeremy LaFave indirectly responded to me by putting a thumbnail of one of my videos in his title. Larry Jones actually commented on my videos twice and then went back and deleted one of the comments because he literally said in that comment that I wouldn't prosper. And yeah, I've been extremely critical of those grifters and YouTube gurus. And the main reason why I've talked so much about those people is because I've maintained on my platform that the S&P 500 is going to be any stock that these guys talk about. So in this video, I'm actually going to show you guys proof that these YouTube gurus cannot beat the market. So obviously, all of these stocks are down in 2022. And a lot of these YouTube gurus would argue, well, hey, we're in a bear market. Most stocks are down tremendously. It's not fair to compare. Okay, well, what I did was I took these YouTube guru stock picks and we're comparing the 2021 return to the 2021 return of the S&P 500. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this. So you can see right here, the S&P 500 had a return in the year 2021 of 26%. We're looking here at Tattooed Chef. That is a Jeremy LaFave stock. Tattooed Chef still could not beat the S&P 500. It had an annual return in the year 2021. Remember, this is the bull market of 32%, minus 32%, which means investors who invested in that stock lost 32% of their money, while the S&P 500 saw investors have a gain of 26%. Let's move on. EXPI is a Meet Kevin stock. It's a stock he talked about on numerous videos all over his Discord chat. It was a stock he was absolutely in love with. Well, EXPI did have a positive year, but it still didn't beat the S&P 500. EXPI had an annual return in the year of 2021 of plus 6%, which means had you just put your money in the S&P 500 instead of EXPI, you would have gotten a 20% higher return on your money than you would have buying EXPI. Let's go ahead and move on to another stock. Fuel Cell, FCEL, is a Chris Sane stock. This is a stock that YouTuber Chris Sane talked about on his channel numerous times and had people buying and all kind of different things like that. FCEL had an annual return in 2021 in the bull market of minus 53%, the same year that the S&P 500 had an annual return, that year of plus 26%. This means investors who listen to Chris Sane lost 53% of their money when they could have gained 26% on that same amount of capital they put in by just putting it into the S&P 500. Let's move on. Hyliion, HYLN, is another Chris Sane stock that he talked about all throughout the year 2021. Now, I know a lot of these stocks are doing terrible in the year 2022. However, in 2021, the same year that the S&P 500 had an annual return of 26%, Hyliion had a return of negative 62%. Investors lost 62% of their money messing around with Hyliion stock. Moving on, NEO. NEO is a stock stock. Stockmo talked about that all throughout the year. Stockmo's another YouTuber who you guys know, another one of those YouTube gurus with a huge following. Stockmo talked about NEO, how great it's going to be, how well it's going to do. And NEO in the year of 2021 had an annual return of minus 35%, which means had you just bought the good old S&P 500, you would have been very well. You would have been doing very well with your returns as opposed to losing 35% of your net worth messing around with NEO stock. Looking at more stocks, you can see that we have Peloton, which was down 76% in 2021. Remember, there were a lot of YouTube gurus who promoted that stock. Tom Nash, me, Kevin. There were a bunch of people who really liked that stock. That stock didn't even do well in 2021 during the bull market when the S&P went up 26%, okay? Shift Technologies down 58% in 2021. Keep in mind, all of these stocks are down even worse this year in 2022, but even in 2021, they couldn't beat the market. ChargePoint, that was another very popular YouTube stock. Keenan Grace and Stockmo and Larry Jones all talked about this stock, down 52% in 2021. And then Nano Dimension, you had a couple of people talking about that too. Keenan Grace, Larry Jones, and me, Kevin, actually did make a video on Nano Dimension. Nano Dimension stock in 2021 was down 58%. Now, I know what some of you guys are going to say. Some of you guys are going to say, well, Echoes, what about 2020? All those stock picks did well in 2020. And yes, you're right. A lot of the Kathy Wood, space alien, speculative, type stocks, they did do well in 2020. They had monster years, which 2020 was also the year that we had that very short-lived market crash. But here's something that I want to show you guys, okay? Let me actually go ahead and pull this up. Yes, some of these stocks did do well in 2020. However, let me show you guys something. So this right here is a chart of Nano Dimension. This is one of those goofball stocks. This is one of those speculative YouTube stocks. Notice the only good year this stock had was in the year of 2020. It went up 259% in 2020. But every other year besides that, it did terrible. Okay, let's look at another one. Look at Fuel Cell. This was a Chris Sane stock. In 2020, during the market bubble, it went up 345%. However, if you look at all of the other years, you could clearly see down 73%, down 67%, down 53%, down 34%. What does that mean? That means that this stock is garbage. If you look at a stock like an Apple, a Microsoft, a Google, those stocks traditionally have pretty good years. Of course, some years they underperform, but for the most part, their freaking performance does not look like those two stocks I just showed you. So people can miss me with all that. Oh, you're being unfair. Their stocks did well in 2020. Here's another thing that I want to bring up to you all's attention. If you notice, a lot of these, it was actually hard for me to even find those charts for those stocks. And the reason why is because one thing I noticed, a lot of these YouTubers who come on and act like they're gurus and like they know everything about stocks, you notice many of the stocks that they picked were SPACs that just became stocks or just got on the stock market in 2020 and 2021. Many of the stocks these guys picked are only 2 years old. None of these YouTubers picked stocks that were 10 years old, 20 years old, 15 years old. That's not a coincidence. The reason they did that is because a lot of these YouTubers were just as new to the stock market in 2020 as you were. They just happened to blow up. But when it comes to stocks, they were new too. They didn't know anything either. That's why they never told you guys to buy any of the really good stocks. Some of the stocks that are in the Dow, they had you guys buying those Russell 1000 stocks or whatever that index is. They had you all buying all the Cathie Wood stocks, all the space alien stuff, all the BNGO, Nano Dimension, Zomedica, all that different stuff. And that's the main issue that I'm trying to explain here, guys. At the end of the day, if you look at the entirety of the market, there's no doubt that these guys cannot outperform the S&P 500. They can't even do it in a bull market. 2020 was not a traditional bull market. 2020 was a legit stock bubble that was caused by the Fed, so I'm not counting 2020. Ask these YouTube gurus to show you a different year where they beat the market. They can't do it. You know why? Because it's extremely hard to beat the market, and you've got to be crazy if you think some new kid who just learned about stocks in 2020 and happened to start a YouTube channel and get lucky and blow up is going to be able to show you how to build wealth buying stocks and create generational wealth and become a multimillionaire. It's just not going to happen. So what's the message of this video? Stop listening to these clowns. I just proved to you that even in the bull market, they still can't beat the S&P 500. So sit back, relax, buy the S&P 500 and chill. Thanks so much for watching.